I don't think I can play that one. Shoot, mute. Switch over to this. Funky Yoshi music. Just gonna have to go with that. Let's see. Switch back over here. Oh, wrong room. Hello, hello. Oh, I'm loving how broken the captions are right now. They're trying to add captions to, I think, the downbeat of the guitar on this. Weird error. I guess this is further evidence that I need to speak a bit more clearly. Yeah, that made a huge difference. Okay. As much as I appreciate the No Thoughts Head Empty vibe of this song, I don't appreciate the sleigh bell noise running in the background of that. Okay, well. It's been an interesting week. A lot of stuff happened all at once that kind of came together in a way that worked out really well. I gotta thank you all so much for the help that you've given me and for the support on making Path to Affiliate, because we're here. We've got new emotes. I'm really excited. They're actually available without having to use E7 TV now, so feel free to try those out. I want to say that right now they are probably only subscriber only, but as soon as I've got follower only emotes, I'll be putting those up as well. All right. Got a few things adjusted here in OBS. Let's see what somebody... Now we got no votes so far on what to play, so I'm going to take a look at what I've got in my own list. We'll switch over to something. So, move myself over into the corner here. You know, I was having a lot of fun playing Peglin the other night. I'm gonna boot that back up. We'll play that for a little while. Nice. Okay, we got that music built into Peglin here, so let's just listen to that. Although after a while, this starts to burn into my brain in such an awful way. Oh well. I am Milky Taro Flavor. Thank you for signing in, checking in, tuning in. I'm trying to find the right word, and I'm not finding it at the moment. I meant to turn this down to 1.5 last time. I really want to get to a higher difficulty on the Crucible for this because the challenges look interesting and fun to play. But I'm also really not that good at the throwing myself at a wall for a while. Nice. Do-do. I don't know if I've run across this one before. This is a fun shape for a map. Oh no, I didn't think that through at all. Aw, thank you. You don't need to do that. I appreciate you. I guess, yeah, that gives you access to all the emotes. Ooh. Healing or increased damage? I guess increased damage is more important initially. Okay. Oh yes, more lightning. Level 1. Very handy. Nice. Trying to get as many points as I can right now. I had a feeling somebody would end up using the Inmon as a Peglin orb equivalent, and I think that works well. Ooh. Alright. Oh, okay. Building with 1 damage. I do like the refresh orb. For now, Swolt orb. No! Ah, I wanted to go over there. Oh well. At least it's an easy map. A little too easy. Oops. So many bombs. Well, that's it for that. Keep going. More upgrades. Delicious. Of course. Of course I missed the shot. Uh-huh. We bat smacking. Slap. 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 Why? Why this slap? Bad slaps. No! The worst slaps. This is just bad. We're doing great. Okay. Oh. Okay. Game dislikes me. That was terrible. Okay. Neighbor's dog is going off. Same little puppy. Same. Oh, so close. Upgrade an orb. Give me more Swoltorb. Okay. Aw, very close. Nice. Okay. More health. Very useful. At least I got popcorn. Because, like, that is the main way that I usually try to get some form of healing going. Oh, come on. Sure. Let's hit that one too. Took care of most of them. It's boss time. It's a different boss from the last one. I ran into the same boss like 4 times the last time I played this. It was pretty bad. They kept putting me up against the other one. I don't have the best of times with the slime. Crazy, I know. Cool. Yeah, I feel that way too. Slime does feel a lot harder. How? I just want the refresh. I don't even care about the bomb. Okay. Come on. Wow. That didn't go anywhere I expected it to. Sometimes it feels a bit more like I'm playing pool. I do that there, it's gonna bounce back and hit. No, that's... I guess over here. That also wasn't really where I wanted it. Close, but nope. Wait, what? Oh, because the refresh does damage. I forgot the refillabuster was a thing. What a strange object. Tempting. Don't need it though. That Haglin satchel. All purchases are twice as expensive. What? -1 discard. Could be useful. Satchel it is. Give me some random orbs. Let's see what we got. Orb. Nice. A swarb. An upgraded 2 rocks and a fireball. Okay. Oh, this is silly. Kind of worth seeing that in slow motion. Alright, and now for the speed whiplash. Flat. I'm not thinking through like just how much the ball is gonna be pulled down by gravity. Ow. Try that on for size. Completely missed the refresh. There we go. Tempting. No special effects, just hits hard. Hmm. Yeah. We're just gonna go to the shop. See what we find. Okay. When an enemy hits you, when you hit an enemy. Hmm. Well, that's post-battle healing. Aw. It's right down the hole. No! Okay, it's a little better. There we go. No! What now? Oh, hey, Doctor. We want that. A trio of mysterious spirits pop out and surprise you on your journey. I think this one could use our help, one of the spirits shouts gleefully. Remove a stone, upgrade the Doctor, or duplicate the Swoltorb. Let's get rid of that stone. Alright. This fellow. This is what the fireball is for, because this person kept turning all of them into, like, shielded attacks after a while. The longer the fight took, the better they got at blocking my attacks. It makes way more sense now. Yeah, this doesn't even care if I hit a crit, so it's more important that I hit this. This one does care, and I'm not going to be able to get it. I'll try anyways. Hope for the best. Deals no damage, heals you, can only be used once per battle. Do I want to? Not yet. Swarb! Good damage. Ow. That darkness ability stacks up, so the more I hit a boss, the more likely they are to miss. And it's actually saved me in the past. I've had a few encounters where that's been what's kept me from getting killed. Another Swoltorb. Tempting. Very tempting, to be honest. Yeah. Overwhammer. Lucky penny. More crits would be great. All projectile attacks having overflow would also be great, but I'm not getting that yet. More crits. Ooh, I love this level. It's so weird. This is right down the side. Okay. Orb. This level lets you stack up damage so much without even, like, having anything that does that. Another match for Arbsco would be fun. Increasing the fireball's damage would also be good. Lighter than other orbs. Yeah, let's do that. Why did it go back to slow-mo? Alright, we want that side. Did not want to hit that bomb. Unicorn horn. Extra gold. Always hopeful. Echo chamber. Echo chamber. All attacks have echo is so powerful. Alright, I need that. Huh? Alright, not a bad start. No! Slap. I'm not getting lucky with this right now. No shielded abilities. Just hit with this. Yeah. Go completely wacky. Why? I can't even aim at that. What a mess. Two of the crits are on this block. This one over here. That was silly. More Soul Orb? I could. I don't need it. We do need to heal. Yeah. Ready to receive an orb. I'm assuming it's an Orbalisk. Or I can force a stone into it. Do I only have level 2 stones? Oh. I don't want an Orbalisk orb. And it gave me an Orbalisk orb. Okay. Thank you, game. Improve targeting. Vanguard. Oh, this is gonna be tough. Oh wow, that broke the audio. That was a bad decision. That's a better shot. Yeah, go. Oh no. Well. Oh no. I don't know if I've got the damage output for this. Well, not if that stuff keeps happening. Oh. Cool. Just, yeah. Hmm. Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna make it. Like, oh no. Oh no. Um, 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 well, that was a run. Ah, almost. It's funny how you can get so used to having like one specific artifact in a roguelike, and without it, like everything just feels slightly off. In this case, I don't have the short fuse on this run. I'm not starting with all the bombs already lit, so it makes combat feel like it takes so much longer. Two fireballs. Ugh. All right. Mm-hmm. Worth it when you got the doctor orb. I mean, you may as well go for the extra coins. There's a nest, I suppose. So balanced. Oh, gambles. Yes, give me. I'll take that. We've already read this, but you can sacrifice a little life to try and gamble for this mode, where the bottom of the screen completely changes to multiplier damage, including half multiplier, which is never fun. But sometimes you get that X2, which is very handy. Ta-da! Full health. And now I can just do this. Bye! Not often that you completely destroy both of the trees. We'll just continue. Never know what you'll find. Duplicate an orb, you say? Double healing wouldn't be the most helpful, but I've already put a lot of money into it, so it may as well. Extra bombs. Whatever. Wow! Oh, wow. Normally I do bomb meta builds, but that sounds really fun. I never do crit builds. Let's do that. That sounds interesting. Okay. I also note that the stuff on the bottom is moving around on its own as well. Very nice. Interesting. Okay. Tactical treat. I found myself really SOL without that one recently. Duplicate all orbs. I have a bunch of not so great orbs. I'll have some decent ones. One random. I got a 50-50, and I'm going to lose some health in the process. Soul Orb. Alright. Not a bad one. Need about the same value. You find a waterfall. Is it a monster? Oh, refreshive. Okay. Handy. Giant slime. Giant slime! Man, you suck. I mean, at least in this case... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Can only be used once per battle. Well, I guess we're healing then. Yep. Next. Doing really badly right now. Not yet, but the next turn, yes. Mm-hmm. Maybe not even... Well, that's a lot of turns in between here and then. Okay. Double healing. Additional healing. Ow, you hit hard. I guess I am being digested though, so that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Oh, an opportunity missed. Oh well. Why? Terrible. This is gonna hurt me just to use. Okay. Uh, this is it. This is the last hit. This is all I get. Oh no! I got 2 knives. This Peglin walked away from that with 2 knives. Well, didn't walk away. What is this? Deals full. So the ones that have swords? I mean, the ones that have shields? What else has a resistance in this? I'm trying to think. I don't think anything else has like shields per se. Additional crits. Also, I only just now realized that one. Peglin team never stop. Yeah, the spiderweb map is always so difficult, but this time it just kind of destroyed the enemy. Dang. Let's continue. Already remove a stone. There wouldn't be much point in that. Well, I guess that's what we're doing. Or? Into the fight. We go. We go forth into the fight. This is gonna be a weird run with this few orbs to start, and like all I've done is spend money to bring myself into a lower value play state. I don't know what I was thinking. I gained 44 out of all that. Just continue it. Yeah, uh, hmm. Okay. Fireballs. 3 balls of fire. We're going this way. Both of these are terrible. What did I get? Okay, I got an extra fireball at least. Get rid of yet another stone. And we have fiery little Peglin. Smack! Additional smack! Smack talk? Very nice. One might even say stylish. Victorious, victorious. Okay. So many fireballs. I got dungeon die. Minus. That's. Whenever it's shuffled. Wow, I wish I could grab both of these. Let's see what's below. Okay. Oh, okay. I still wanted more coins. Must circle it is. This is up to chance. Please! No. Just vaporizing enemies with this. There's crits everywhere now. Which is pretty nice. Although every shot now hurts me. This isn't going well. This is going very badly. So I just realized I have like no splash damage. I have only single target damage and it's only moderate. We may have a problem here. We may have a major problem here. Oh, that'll work. Nothing that supplies healing. Of course. Okay. Okay. All bombs deal plus 10 damage. Pocket sand. When an enemy hits you, you apply a blind. No. There's a strong monster! Well, that means there's double the. Oh. Oh. I'm. This is. Yeah, no. I simply cannot deal that much damage. My self damage is going to kill me before I can get to them. Crits in which directions? It'd be that one. Yeah. Big oops. Very big oops. Hmm. Dang. Okay. Let's jump back over here real quick. Interesting. I'm kind of curious. For anybody watching out there, has there been an ad run? Because I have not yet received a notification from Twitch that it was going to, but it should have by now. Weird. We're gonna do another run because I keep getting killed so quickly. Decoy orb. Suffer the sling. We start off with much bigger rocks. All rocks are basically +1. Hmm. Did I just get the same map twice? But even easier difficulty? I'll take it. I'll just sit here and knock out all these coins. It's every coin on the map. That's fun. I don't think I've ever done that. Not since they've implemented coins. Also want to point out, there were 50 coins on that map. Like, exactly 50. Okay. When reloading, wall bounces. More likely to actually give... Oh, so close! Give me something useful. Um, yep. Tempting. Okay, we want the right side. No, the right side! Oh. Really? Oops, I think the game might be mad at me. Dang. At least we have a decently high damage output this time. Alright. I don't want any of these. Alchemist Cookbook. It's like not even a question. Very well, game. Ooh. Yes. Lightning is good. Crunchy wrists. I have no healing. Oh. I just understood what it meant by post-battle healing. So that's the actual, like, hit the heal button for money. Okay. Well, that would be handy, blind. Okay. Thinking through. Oh, right, wall bounces. Ow! Okay. You miss! You miss, and I hit you with a rock. Concentrication. I haven't seen this one in a minute. Uh, to be honest, I want the Matryoshka orb because I just genuinely like that orb. But concentrication is very fun. We're just gonna go this route. Definitely need that healing though. Don't want. Kind of neat. Oh yes, pumpkin pie. Okay. The kitty, she lament for the hungries. She has so many kibbles in her dish, but it's not enough. She wants to see more. I mean, mood. Oops, good damage. I need to try aiming for these pumpkin pie shots. I love how wacky that is. It's very Looney Tunes portable hole. Or I guess D&D portable hole as well. Okay, concentrication. Only hit pierces through all others. I see. Okay. Target any enemy. Nice. Need more of that healing. Give me more of that healing. Oh yes, I need that healing. I don't have my popcorn. Zip, zap, 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 zap. So many zap. Ordinary stone. Nice. Extra bombs everywhere. Ooh. Very nice. Memorb is fun. Jack Orb Lantern with the pumpkin pie would also be really funny. More healing. Doesn't upgrade. Tempting. Nah. We will simply continue with what we have. Aw, I was trying to hit more than just the one there. Rude. It puts the crit all the way on the opposite of where the pumpkin pie is. Hey! Alright, I'll take that. Those two bombs just nearly cleared most of this map. And then there's more. And then I did it. Bomb meta is still very, very much powerful. It's just the ability to do splash damage to every enemy at once and throw out so many more than just one attack in a single round makes the Peglin like, I don't know. I don't know any other builds that quite hit like that. A refresh orb. Refresh the board when this is discarded. Still only does 2 and 2, but for the purposes of bombs, it makes sense. Let's do that. In fact, oh, I messed up. Oh well. Hey! Hey! Oh, do I want the healing or do I want the money? Am I greedy? Am I greedy? I think I'm greedy. I could afford to refill, I could afford to heal after each round if I do that. This is very silly. Okay. Love it. You're gonna end up killing this tree. So many bombs. Nice. Board clear. I got a lot of money on that after having spent everything in that last run. I don't have a Swole Torb yet. Let's do that. Critter Ball won't help much. Upgrading a Swole Torb will. Ooh. Electropegnet. I love this one. Now the game has gone truly silly. This can lead to very broken builds. Okay. I'm gonna shop on either side, so I don't care where it goes per se. I just want it to go. We've already got pumpkin pie, and this could be really funny. Okay. We've entered the realm of absolute silliness. Silly, it cannot be quantified. What if? I could use some healing. Also, +1/+1 for each bomb detonated this battle. I think I have to buy both of these. Okay. Okay, well, that apparently is the direction I wanted to go, so. Oh, it's so weird when the bomb, or when the magnet behaves that way. One damage because of the 0.5 multiplier done over and over and over. That's really funny. Oh wow, that did a lot of damage to me in the process. I don't like that. Oh, it's a cash shop down below. I shouldn't have spent all that. I should have paid attention. Additional crit would be cool. Worth it. Hmm. Oh no, I forgot how much damage that does. Ah, concern. 'Kay. So many bombs. $3,000 damage. Hmm. Also, this run has gone much longer than initially anticipated. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my chat situation again. I am intrigued. I would like to know when and where and how it's deciding to do this, because supposedly it's running them. I don't want to interrupt per se, and mainly part of the reason that I'm doing a roguelike tonight instead of doing something like Sunless Sea that's story driven is I don't want to interrupt. Don't want folks to miss out on parts of the story or anything. Heals you and damages target enemy for 1 times damage healed. Self-damage increase for this battle. It's like my only real option though. For 2x amount. Continue. 2 bosses on the left. Please. Hmm. Oh. Eye of Turtle is good. Mysterious Altar. Potential offerings. I no longer need this Degorb. So many Splatorbs. Big swole. This one's going to hurt when I do it, but I have to. Also, at least it's not a question that I'm going to get my full health out of it. Dang. Very nice. It's level 3 on that one, too. Increased by 5 this instead by 6. Is it really worth it? Self-damage from red bombs reduced by 2. Not really the most handy. Get more lightning. I think for now we're just gonna continue on. I should have spent my points. Alright. That's so many bombs. Hopefully this is enough to make a difference. Because like the amount of rolling damage you get from bombs is pretty substantial after a while. What? Why? What? You're right. That was 1,000 damage right there. Hmm? That is fine. I'm honestly no longer that concerned about not being able to get enough damage out. Especially now. Yeah. Oh yeah. From all those bombs, we now have a heavy hitter. That was amazing. Kind of tempted to do more with that. Okay, what's our current bag look like? More swole. Hmm. Ooh. Okay. Hi, how's it going? Yeah, there's a bunch of really good ones right now. If you go to the options menu, you can. This is Crucible 5. If you go to the options menu outside of a game, because you can't do it in the middle of a run, you can change the speed multiplier to X3. Yeah, I have a general idea of what I'm doing, although I've seen what Crucible 10 Plus looks like, and the game does change a little bit by then because you can't quite play with the the same ridiculously broken builds as your primary hope of getting through things. Yeah. Oh, glorious suffering. Well, I want all three of these. Uh yeah, glorious suffering. With the amount of refreshes, we're doing a refresh bomb Swoltor build, I guess. Oh, you poor little mirror. That won't do anything just yet. But this will. Hmm. Gift that keeps on giving is wonderful. Yeah, if you don't manage to get your initial hits out, you can get really messed up early on with this. But my hope is just managing to hit enough things around that's gonna keep me going. I have one Matorbchka ball, but I don't have the relic that does that. I would love to. That would make this even more messed up. Yeesh. These move in such a freaky way. Hey, Busta. How was work? Concentrication is good. Yeah, go for that. No. It's good to hear. Glad that work went well. More healing would be good. More overall damage, but I think we're just gonna keep going. See what else we can find. Well, yeah, now that I'm running into all the red orbs here, I guess that would be beneficial. I don't even have balls. The only balls I got are orbs. Hmm. Well, I guess I don't get to go to that shop. Hmm. Hmm. I'm glad that you've come to this conclusion. Additional pop. That one didn't go well. Smack. Wait, why do I deal less damage on a crit with that now? What happened? There is one shop available towards the end of this. All reds. Awful, awful, evil. What? What? Okay, that had to be an interaction between concentrication, magnetism, and Actually, yeah, I think you can. You can clip that. These little goblin sappers, straight out of Warcraft 2. I don't quite set up shop here. Wait, haven't you already met this Haglin? Either of these is fine. Maybe we'll get lucky. Nope. Pocket sand. Apple. Pocket sand. Aww. Well, my chance to spend all those coins at the shop is gone. Oh well. Time for chaos. Pocket sand is when an enemy hits you, they get blinded. It's the opposite of these sand arrows. Yeah, I've been trying to get that second chest. That's part of why I usually go for the short fuse perk. I kind of messed up with that one. Oh well. Yeah, Bold Orb looks really useful with the ultra high crucible stuff. Wait, I hate this. I just spent all that money upgrading these. Oh well. Okay, sure. What? That's Minesweeper boss too. Hmm. Wow. Self-slapping. Hmm. "13 damage at a time to myself." Wow, come on. I should probably grab another one of these. Oh, thank you, Busta. Super appreciate the support. Ooh, we got concentrication again, which always makes a mess of things. Flat. Hey, Dan. I am so glad I grabbed those extra nuts for tour, nuts for nuts for Batu. Okay, so this is only going to work on these? I see. Well, that works. Yes, the Ainmon. Good, good. You've located the orb. That's totally understandable. This orb is your son. This other orb is daddy. You've got some interesting relationships with the orbs, I must say. Hey, what? What was that? Allow me to do 0 damage repeatedly. Well, this is looking pretty bad. Gotta say. Can I convince my... No, no. Oh, there we go. We got the winding path shot. Good. Even if I, like, discarded so many orbs, I'm not gonna get that damage out in time. Okay, well. Self-damage from these red... Yeah, no. Dang. Okay. It was a good run. Alright. Well, it was a fun run. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a short break here. Give myself some time to stretch, and grab some water, and we'll see about another game to play. Let's see here. Let's put that No Thoughts Head Empty music back on. You know, somebody else recommended Crab Champions to me, and I've never heard of the game before. I might have to look that one up. Whoa. Don't do that. I actually used to stream Risk of Rain quite a bit. The original one, side-scroller style. The second one is good, but I think I played too much of it. You're good, hun. I'm gonna take my short break, enjoy some music here, and we'll be back. Alright, I think we're going to try something a little bit different here, because I have a background in doing a lot of rhythm games. So let me update this. Wait, there's a second sound dodger? Oh, I'm going to have to look into that. Okay, fun! Think Beat Saber, Dance Dance Revolution, Guitar Hero, those kinds of games. Although in this case, this one's a little bit different, being a bullet hell rhythm game. Mainly, it's the music itself is interacted with as things that you simply have to avoid with your mouse. Although, I have not tried this with the new tablet that I got, and I think we're going to give that a try today. Yeah, a lot of folks that I speak with tend to play Osu. Let's see if Soundodger will work with me. Uh-oh. I can hear it going boop, but I'm not seeing it show up here. I was afraid of that. Let's see. Remove. Okay. Looks like that one went through. And we'll stick that right over here. Cool. Yeah, then. Alright. This is Soundodger, a strange little bullet hell. And it'll make sense in just a moment. Although, ooh, I'm questioning whether... Yeesh! Alright, let's turn that down a little. Questioning whether my tablet's set to a high enough sensitivity for this. Audio setting. Okay, probably right about there. Okay. Whoa. Very whoa. Alright, that's a little better. Let's do a warm-up on one of the easier ones. Starting off simple. Now, one of the nice things is this game adds a slow motion effect where if I tap the screen, it'll slow things down. And theoretically, I can use that to try and avoid really tight squeezes in this because the hitbox is a little finite. And the point in this being not necessarily to 100% it, like that is very difficult to do in general, but to try and dodge as much as you can. And you'll get a percentage clearing based on how many of the notes successfully strike the wall without you hitting them. And if you do get hit, and I'm getting very close here to being hit, everything that's currently on the screen will fast forward through, and you lose the percentage point of the total number of notes that are currently on the screen in relation to the total number of notes that are on the song. Mechanically, it's a little funky. I enjoy it though. It's something casual that I originally picked up when I worked in an office, and I just needed something that I could do during a lunch break. Oh. Now you can see the outer ring here of the notes that I missed versus the ones that I forgot successful, and it's filling in with. I am amazed that I made it through that. I sincerely thought I had already hit those. Alright, not a bad warm-up. New record. Fun. Let's see some that I don't have a really good score on. Alright, 71. Try and fill out that score a little further because the total percentage value counts towards your overall progress necessary to unlocking new songs or new versions of certain tracks that'll have different beat patterns. One of my favorite things back when I used to play Dance Dance Revolution competitively was the alt tracks that would show up that were just a modded version of the same song with a different step pattern. There are days that I really, really miss going to the arcade and just playing doubles for a couple hours, but my knees can't handle that anymore. Aw. I love how mesmerizing some of the patterns are that show up in this. Aw. Come on! Well, now I know why I had a 71% on this. I don't quite know how to successfully dodge those just yet. Ha! Come on! Okay. Well. Now I would make use of the slow motion mode like this, but any notes that strike the walls while you're in slow motion are counted against you the same way as being struck. Just not as heavy of a hit. So if you have to, you can slow down. It's almost like being able to lean back and grab the bar on an arcade machine for DDR as a ballast. Alright, what did I actually get on that one? 4% higher. That song is fun. I just don't like the topic of the track. the sheer number of potential spawn points on this one makes it very difficult to see where anything's going to come in from. There's too many things to pay attention to at once. I'm no longer doing this in a concentrated manner. Instead, I'm just reacting in bullet hell training mode. If I can finish the level with this little heart, I'll gain a bonus. If you get enough levels that have the heart bonus completed, then there's other challenge songs and modes that can be unlocked. So these are an ongoing progression thing that I've been working on for a sec. Oh, no, it's gone. I have to remember that I can also just let these phase past me. I don't have to dodge through them and get stuck in the middle. After a while, you have to. The game makes you. Also, you might note just how small that hitbox actually is when I start dodging between these. So the fact that I do get hit at all is very much my fault. I want to say later versions of Raiden added, what was it called? I think Perfect Cherry Blossom just called it bullet grinding. It was the concept of if you stay next to an enemy shot, you'll get bonus high score or multiplier on damage or something. And I think that Raiden also added that later in Raiden 5. I was really bummed out to find out recently, after having done a bit of reading, that Raiden as a series is gone. As is Gradius. Like, there haven't been any new additions to the series as a whole. Okay. Well, that was better than the last run. New level unlocked, right? 64, 73. Let's try this one. Nope. Yeah. That's chill audio, though. Oh, I didn't even see those coming up. I was so focused on following the sheep. Oh no. Well, I know why I had a 64% on this one. Hey, Andra. This is a fun little rhythm bullet hell game that I started playing years ago. It's actually one of the very few titles I have. It's an Adult Swim game, and I just found out there's a Sound Dodger 2. So that's kind of cool, and I might have to actually go look into, like, how many new tracks they added. Frog of Lore! No more frog? No, this is the frog. The frog has given you a bagel. The wizard frog. Am I supposed to move? Yeah, I was supposed to move. This is a fun little game, and I highly recommend it because it is probably less than $5 now. It is so old. And even if it wasn't, it's worth at least that much in entertainment value alone. I love a game that I can compare to like a movie night. Like, say that you're gonna spend $30 or $40 going out to a movie with somebody, you get yourself drinks, popcorn, whatever else. Or you could spend $20 on a game, get yourself like some snacks and whatever else, and spend a night in. Spend the same amount of time or more enjoying that activity and have spent the same amount of money. This is one of those games where, like, I can see myself easily getting more than what I paid for out of it. Oh wow, that is really pretty. It's so hard to focus on both those lines at once. Yeah, the cubes will chase you. There's also big boulders that'll show up sometimes. Um, um, um. I'm using that slowdown now. Oh, see, if I had sat dead center there, no matter what, I would have been hit. Some of the beat maps, you just have to have already played once and known generally where things are going to show up. Whoa. Huh? No? I might go into the settings here in a second and turn off. What? What? Well, what? What are we supposed to do there? This is what I mean by those boulders. Yeah, I have an option put in place here that makes it a little easier to see things. Oh, show a hitbox, that's fun. Okay. I got plus 2% on that one. 2%. Immediately pick up the pen too far. failed a track where it actually is on the pad. Wow.
Overdose. Overdose.
I'm doing so badly at this song. It's got such a good funky beat to it, though. It's like one of my favorite tracks musically.
Overdose.
Ah.
Overdose.
Huh? What? What? I got comfortable.
Overdose.
Ah.
Overdose.
Okay, so that one's just get out of there.
Overdose.
My ratio on this is gonna be so bad.
Overdose.
This is also why they've added a Zen mode to the game, where if you just want to hear the music, you can play without the... You can listen to the music. I think the arrows still show up so you can play it through. It just doesn't pause you or fast forward you whenever you hit something. Okay, that was another get out of there one.
Overdose.
Almost. I'm learning.
Overdose.
The middle isn't always safe.
Overdose. Overdose.
Okay. 37%. New record! The song's about almond? I don't know how I made it through that wave just now. This beat map's just like, here, have sheer numbers to deal with. Oh. Well, I guess I don't get that heart. I hate the parts where it just slows down and then speeds up on you. Whoa. Hmm. So I'm expected to dive between those little slots that it's creating when it does that. Level unlocked. We're hitting 5 stars on these. There's... Okay, I have 3 more tracks to unlock. Ooh, this one's asymmetrical build. Well, that was short-lived. This is the same color as the wings on my avatar in VR chat. That's really pretty. Oh, I could not track that. That was a lot of stuff. I'm having to noodle around so much to dodge all this. Ah, okay. New level unlocked. I think I'll be able to get maybe one more and... Hey there, Koi. I think I'll be able to maybe do one more unlock on this, and then I'll probably either switch out for something else as a short game, or maybe even close it down a little early tonight. Just because I've got a lot more professional development work stuff to do. A bunch more things that are in the works for the channel. I'm really excited to be able to reveal those soon. But a lot of stuff that needs focused on. This is that song. It's got all the dubstep rewinds that I don't like. This is really pretty without a high contrast mode on. It feels like this is higher contrast. How's your day been, Koi? Blustery day out there. That blue one blended in for me. Loving these tracks that are using like the colors that I decorate myself with most often. We're finally starting to get the nice weather here. Like, I've been able to actually go outside without a jacket recently. Been needing that. The sun's good for me. Good for mental health. Yeah, I hope you're able to enjoy the good weather when it does come. 66? I guess I did get that other unlock. Didn't expect that. Let's see what it was. My control in this is not the most finite. Ooh. Aw. Alright. Aw. No! Okay, so the orange ones are aiming directly at me, and the blue ones are crowd control. Or surface controlling. Woo! So pretty. It's gonna switch on me. Orange is gonna be crowd control. I bet you. That's how it started. It flipped halfway through the song. Oh. Those oranges are designed to pull your view. That's crazy. That was a fun little song. As soon as I was able to see into the step pattern. Okay, we're on a roll apparently. No, not the same one again. No, 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 no. Restart. Oh, I guess not. Menu. These are really pretty symbols. They're like little birds. I know. Nice. Yes, please. More samba in my music. Whoa. Hold on. Am I supposed to be doing a two-step with my pen? Right now, I'm just dodging errantly around these. I like the Nightfall remix that plays whenever I mess up. Who ate your cookie? Who did eat your cookie? Who would do such a thing? You're not a cookie? Also, it's still wild to me that, like, only by chance. How did I dodge that? Only by chance did I end up watching ER, the series, when I was living for a short stint down in Arizona, and happened to catch the origin of the I'm Not Patrick scene from SpongeBob was very, very heavily predated by ER, of all things. Or the I'm Not the Krusty Krab, sorry. Didn't quite get the last song. 15% though. Yeah, I was gonna say, there's gotta be something that I haven't played today. Let's do glowing cubes. That'll get me that last 15%, because I literally could miss 85% of the song and it'll still unlock that next one, so I may as well grab it. Wait, what? What? Okay, I know kind of what to do here, but no, I no longer have any idea what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just being guided by these things at this point. Oh. I don't like when I move the pen and it doesn't go, because I picked it up too high. Also, love a good chiptune song. Well, I didn't say I was good at this game. Because I am very much not. Yikes. Ah, this is that thing from the intro again. This will be a get out of the middle. Yikes. I am also quite literally doing the end of the game, so last one is I do what I want, and then the rest are heart challenges. Well, let's see what the final track is here. Aw, almost managed to keep that up. Why? Why do you hate me, game? With the rewinds. Bop, 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 bop. Hmm. It got really intense for a second. I had to just focus entirely on what I was doing, even though I kept getting hit. Now, as I've been playing this, I'm sitting here thinking about the other games that came out around the same time, specifically from the same team, or at least with the Adult Swim producers, I guess. Because it wasn't the developers. This is developed by Studio Bean, but published. Adult Swim published this one, and around the same time did I think 1,000 Ways to Die or 30 Minutes to Live or something like that. One of those ultra-violence stick figure run around an office and do awful things to yourself type of game. And then not too shortly thereafter was like Untitled Goose Game got real popular. I like the teeth effect when it does this. Not bad. Okay. We're gonna close this one down. Because that was not all of the songs, but nearly all of the songs, and I didn't expect to clear that on stream today. uh, kind of wild. Let's see. Turn our not elevator music back on. We've been up for 2.5 hours here today, so I think we're gonna call that a stream for tonight. Switch this over to here. Alright. That was a lot of fun. Silly set of games for tonight, but you know, I think that's becoming my pattern. This is just, let's see what weird stuff we can pull out of left field. Let me see here. Who should we raid today? Let's take a look at who's out there streaming. You know what? let's go to DJ EL Connors, because yet another person who helped me get myself started. Gave me a lot of the support I needed to push my way forward. Let's see. For those that have the ability to use emotes, let's do... Oh wait, those barks aren't gonna work, are they? Let's do the Inmon. There we go. Yeah, this has been a blast. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I had a lot of stuff put together in my mind for years that just never quite had a chance to all coalesce. And so, all the support, all the help from everybody, it's truly appreciated. I couldn't have done this without you folks, and I can't keep doing this honestly without the help and the input and the support from everyone. It's been a wonderful learning experience, and I hope to keep being at least halfway as entertaining as some of you folks out there that have been helping me out with this. Alright. Make certain... Alright, everyone. Thank you, thank you. Have a lovely night and enjoy the music.
The Sand Wife with the 3-person raid. No matter how big, no matter how small, a raid is a raid, and I love you all. Let's go. Make sure you give the Sand Wife a follow if you're not doing so already. Milky Taro Flavor, I see you. Jay Buster in the building. And of course, the Sand Wife. Milky Taro Flavor, thank you for the follow. First time here. My name is El Connors, and I appreciate you showing up. Hang out with your boy for a little while. Sand Wife, I'm having an awesome night so far. Hope you're doing the same. How was your stream? Milky Taro Flavor in the building. I see you. Have a little fun right about now.